now about public hearing, so it should go really quickly actually.
Here my son's out there. Those nights down there, we were here till 11:30 or so. Oh, like I don't usually even leave for lunch, so I'm like, oh, great. I'm fading.
12 hours a day, yeah.
Oh, one was 16 hours. When the traffic was discussed. Anyway, that's great.
Tonight it'll go pretty quick from
It should.
But I think they have their work done. What's your?
I call the meeting to order. The town board regular meeting number 14, August 1st, 2016. Roll call.
Councilman Billica?
Here.
Councilman Aronica? Here. Councilwoman of Kinney?
Here.
Councilman Manigan?
Here.
Supervisor McBurney?
Here. The invocation will be done by White Hoven Road Baptist Church, Pastor Mark Matfile, The pledge will be led by Councilwoman Bev Kinney. All rise.
All right, dear God, we thank you so much for today. We thank you for this opportunity to come together. But God, we just need your wisdom. We need your discernment. Father, just give us your presence, please. As decisions are made, God, let us reflect your wisdom and not our own. God, you are not only creating God, you are sustaining God, Lord. You are still active. So, Father, please just work mightily in this room and see you receive the glory and the fame and the honor. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. So we have some great employees here at Town Hall, and we have started acknowledging some of the hard work they have done. We have 6 employees receiving certificates of appreciation for being employees of the summer tonight. As I read your name, please come forward. Dave Cole, not here. Linda Tuffalero, Bonnie Weiser, Beth Benton, Ben Shaw, and Brian Brennan. So, for Dave, I'm just going to tell you what you guys have been doing. So for Dave, Linda, here, come on over here.
There you go. Yeah, that's good.
Dave, Linda, and Bonnie, and Bev, they've been keeping the parks and gardens looking great this summer. And Ben and Brian, are you Ben and Brian, by the way? Yes. Okay, let me read this email so people understand what they did. This is from Joseph Mentor, Recreation Supervisor. He said, "Hi, Nate. I want to recommend 2 Recreation Department employees for Employee of the Month, Ben Shaw and Brian Brennan. Earlier this month at Sports Craze at BP, a lady was walking her dog in the path. As the staff was bringing the kids back towards the pavilion, Ben and Brian saw the dog collapse and the lady trying to help it. They ran over to help. They pulled Ben's vehicle over, loaded the dog and the lady into the vehicle, and drove them to the vet. Unfortunately, the dog passed. It was older, 12, 14, and had a heart attack. But Ben and Brian went above and beyond to help her and try to save the dog. Ben and Brian were also first responders to a vehicle accident earlier this week in West River. This was not on work time, but it's still something you should know about. Ben and Brian and Dom, along with Brian's family, were down by the river when a vehicle went through the intersection of Love and West River and landed in the water. They called 911 and went to help. They were able to pull one victim from the car. The other was trapped, and they had to wait for the fire company to get there. Both victims, as far as I understand, have survived. So they've done some pretty amazing things. They've helped some families, and they did really an act of bravery there. So to recognize them as employees of the summer, we have these certificates that we're going to hand out. Can the town board come up? comments on agenda items only, so items listed here only. Any comments? We'll have another period at the end of the night to make comments. Okay, moving on. I'll entertain a motion to accept the past minutes from workshop meetings number 34, 35, and also from regular meeting with number 13. However, I want to make a change to regular meeting number 13 and remove the items that tabled term limits. I want to remove that section. There's a misprint in the meeting minutes. Where's that? If you look at the meeting minutes. 1 second. Highlighted it.
Which?
Regular meeting number 13. It says, A, correspondence planning board remains tabled, and local law entry number 4, 2016, term limits remains tabled. That's the typo. It did not remain tabled, it was passed. Okay. So subject to that change, I'll move for, make a motion. Okay?
Second.
Motion by Billica, second by Kinney. Any comments? Roll call.
Billica.
Aye.
Kinney.
Aye.
Veronica. Madigan.
Aye.
McMurray.
Aye. I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. We received the following minutes. Meeting minutes from the Zoning Board of Appeals from June. Meeting minutes from the Board of Architectural Review from June. Meeting minutes from the Grand Island Memorial Library from July. And meeting minutes from the Long Range Planning Committee for June.
So moved.
Second. Have any communications from the town board on the consent agenda? Okay, motion by Madigan, second by Kinney. Discussion, no discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Communications from my office, reporting structure. I'm going to read this so I get it right. I believe that we may be able to find a more efficient manner through which the town of Grand Island can deliver services to the public. I therefore propose the establishment of a supervisors advisory committee to make recommendations to identify efficiencies in our service model. I'd like to include one additional member of the board for this committee. I'll ask for volunteers after I make this comment. And I will identify other members of the committee and report to the board in the near future regarding the structure of this committee. No board action is required in this item. So I want to make a second motion here. We have a reporting structure. Actually, can I make this motion here? This is regarding my, I can put it on as I wish.
So who is going to be, or what's the method for, sorry, can we discuss that?
Structure to be determined.
Okay, so how is it the other person would be identified on the board?
I'm going to ask for a volunteer from this board to come forward to assist with this process. If we wanted to volunteer, I think you'd be good at it.
Okay.
So we need someone to help with this process to create, I want to see if we can create some efficiencies and rethink a few things about how we do things at Town Hall. So to do that, I'm going to create a committee that will advise us, made of members, ad hoc members from the community, as well as a member of the board. It is suggested to me that there may be some delay in the processing of certain applications by our building department, the site commonly referred to as the Dunlop Building. I would like the town code enforcement officer to complete its review, or if not possible, to report back to the board as to impediments preventing completion of the review by August 15th. I'd ask the board to entertain a motion, so directing the town's enforcement officer. Can I get a motion?
So move for discussion.
Sure. Is there a second? Go ahead.
Second.
Discussion, go ahead.
So what exactly?
Well, I think we need to direct, I want to make sure that the resources of the town are directed properly on this matter. I think the plans have been out there for a few months. I want to make sure that they're reviewed quickly and completely, a complete and total review. I know there was some motion on it today, but I want to make this a top priority for the town. I think 2 weeks is, or by the 15th, or excuse me, by August 15th is more than 2 weeks' time.
Just to clarify exactly what is the topic right now, just
Dunlop.
the Dunlop Building, okay.
That's been a top priority for, I mean, we've been trying to get that off the dime for 20 years. I really would like to see it move on.
So that's what the purpose of this motion is, to direct.
So the purpose is
To direct the priorities of the town code enforcement and building department to quickly and to finish their complete review of this by the 15th and report to us on a weekly basis regarding any roadblocks or impediments to their complete final review of the plans.
Has that conversation already been had or not?
It has not been had, it has been had, but I want to make a formal declaration by the top board. We have the power to direct the code enforcement to act in such a way. So we have a motion. Is there any other discussion on this point?
Yeah, so just in terms of, I don't have an appreciation for the outstanding work that needs to be done. Is it reasonable, and whose assessment is it that says it's reasonable to expect it to be completed by the August 15th?
Well, we also have this additional part of this resolution where we can ask him for weekly reports, explain progress made, and what impediments are stopping him from completing a flow review. So he can tell us if it's not reasonable, or there's something that he brings to our attention, but I want to put it to the top of the agenda so we make sure there's progress on this, make sure we all know what's going on, make sure no one's blindsided. The plans are out there, they're sitting on the desk, I want to make sure they're completed.
Sounds
You'll
reasonable.
report to the board then? Yes.
I think that's a good idea because there might be an inundation of the building department of dock permits or remodeling permits or replacing a hot water tank or whatever the case may be, and I would like to not let those homeowners be unnecessarily delayed, but at the same time, has there been any thought of if they're overwhelmed and don't have enough time of offering some overtime to the individuals in that department to review some? I mean, that's been done throughout the town of Grand Island. If something needs to be done, if the water main needs to be broke, fixed, and they can't complete it during normal working hours, they do it on overtime. If you can't get the grass cut in the Parks Department in the regular working hours, you do it on overtime. So if they've got so much work down there, might be someone should ask them, would some overtime hours help alleviate that?
Maybe we include that in whatever we pass here or agree to.
I think that's fair. I think we just need to figure out a way to make sure it gets done. I know there's a lot of workload. I want to have a report so we can all understand where we are. If he comes back to us, or the team comes back to us and says we don't have enough hours in a day to get it done, and they make a reasonable justification, I think that's fine.
Okay.
So I think that's included.
So I do think, though, we gotta reemphasize, he needs to report not just regarding the Dunlop, but if there's a backlog, we need to have a full appreciation of what's gonna suffer as a result of this.
What's in the queue right now, and then
Yes.
in a day or two, he gets 10 more applications for whatever it might be.
Right.
We need to, if he keeps us abreast of that and says, in order to get this done, it looks like keep a couple guys and do a little extra work to get this done.
Yep.
Well, then it sounds reasonable.
Good.
So, roll call?
Kenny?
Aye.
Madigan?
Aye.
Belica?
Aye.
Veronica? McMurray?
Aye. Thanks for considering that. Communications from John Whitney in Engineering. John has submitted a proposed 2016 highway resurfacing program. The highway superintendent anticipates bonding $675,000 over a 5-year period. This is consistent with the amount projected for 2016 in the proposed capital improvement plan. I'll entertain a motion that we refer this matter to bond council so the necessary bonding resolutions can be prepared. Is there a motion? So moved.
Second.
Motion by Veronica, second by Kenny. Any discussion?
And I think I already know the answer, but this is already in the budget, it's part of the plan, we're just approving or supporting that plan.
That is correct.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Communications from Barbara Gannon at the Golden Age Center. Barbara is requesting permission to hire Wayne Newman for no more than 19 hours per week, part-time, the position of part-time recreation attendant to replace Janine Gregori. I'll entertain a motion to give permission to Barb Gannon to make this hire. Anyone gonna make a motion? This is a part-time position that they're asking for.
Second.
So replacement.
Who made the motion? So Kenny made the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Madigan. Go ahead, discussion?
It just needs to be, I'm not sure where this is placed in the salary schedule. Usually that is given to us so that we know where that is. I would assume it's a brand new person, so it would go on the first step of the part-time recreation salary schedule and also the required pre-employment paperwork and things that you have to get completed before the person works.
So we can modify the motion to say subject to all required processes and that he starts at the first level for part-time recreation attendant
probably assumed it's just not in the letter.
Well, I'll state it, so make sure that we follow up on it. And we have a motion by Kenny, second by Madigan, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mike, can you give us a report of the audit committee?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the following amounts from the following accounts. The general fund, $35,959.87. Highway fund, $35,999.73. Sewer fund, $6,654.77. The water fund, $837.56. Capital fund, $4,266.88 for a total of $83,718.81.
Second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to unfinished business. There are still pending approvals for the Gum Creek PTD for Phase 1B, so we will keep it as unfinished business for now. The renewal of the HVAC system was supposed to be taken off the unfinished business last meeting, so. The Elderwood Grand Island Senior, go ahead.
Ask a question.
Sure.
Where are we on that?
John Whitney said that he put out the new bids.
I'm waiting to hear back from John.
I haven't seen the request to authorize for bids.
It's not out yet.
It's
It's not out there yet.
Yeah.
He's putting it together.
So it's still, we're gonna still leave it as it is for now.
I see.
The Elderwood Grand Island Independent Senior Housing at 2800 Grand Island Boulevard is still waiting for DEC approval for the sewer extension, but we have issued a negative declaration under secret. We are still tabling the ECC.
Wait a
You
minute.
want to bring a comment? Go ahead.
I want to comment about that. I would like to ask the board, I've got a meeting set up with this new superintendent for the schools tomorrow, actually Wednesday. And so that we don't hold the project up, what I would like to do is, you would ask me to go and see if they would, it's a $12,000 feasibility study, and if I would see if they would share in the cost. What I would like to do is make a motion that we approve the feasibility study with the condition that they're gonna share half of the cost. So it would help move it along. I'll be meeting with him Wednesday, so it's kind of like a good faith thing if we would do that.
Okay.
Does anybody got?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay.
My
Thank
question
you.
would be is, where's our share coming from?
Well, I do have money, well, we take it out of the supervisor's budget. I've already talked to Pam about it, or there are other places where she can take it out. It's $6,000.
It's just not budgeted for this year, it's just we're finding the money.
Right, we're finding money,
That's fine.
and also we have, I think, $8,000 left in the economic development budget as well, so we do have the funds, okay?
So your feeling is we can possibly acquire additional funds for it?
We have it in the budget to cover what our part of it would be. And the feasibility study would tell us exactly what this whole thing would be. We're putting two committees together, both the school committee and economic development board is gonna have, or the, cable and communication board, getting confused with my board. It's gonna put their committee together, they're gonna work together. The feasibility study really needs to be done so that we know what the scope is, map it out, know what the complete cost of it is before we can even go forward. Look for the funding. There's a lot of E-rate funding through the school. That's where probably the majority of the funding will come through, is from that end of it. So, but the feasibility study is the first step in one to
To
forward.
replace, funding to replace the money that the town spends through the grant?
What?
Is this gonna be grant money that will be reimbursing the town for this, or? I mean, we were gonna talk to the grant writer to see if we can get grant money for this.
Can't find any grant money for the feasibility study, but there is grant money out there possibly, but there is grant money through E-rate. So a lot of the grant money will come through the school system. That's where most of the funding is for these kind of projects. We're also, Bernie is also looking for funding for our end of it, whatever it may be. But it starts all with feasibility study, see exactly what we need, or if it's something that.
It's a small amount for the feasibility study, and it will open up the door for additional funds and to understand the full scope of this project.
And you don't think the county's plan will cover this?
No, this will help us, can I jump in? I think this will help us get in front of the county's plan.
Yes.
And it'll make us the first person on the block to say, we're ready for the county's plan.
Right, see, the county is doing a feasibility study right now. Their feasibility study, from what I was told from the county, is at 40,000 feet. Our feasibility study will be at 10,000. It basically will tell the county, if they so choose to move forward, there's gonna be money from the county as well. So a lot of these pieces, it's gonna take a year or two. I mean, this is not an overnight project. A lot of these pieces will fall in place as what decide what the county is doing. Ours is at 10,000 feet. We would be almost in front of the line to say to the county, we're ready. We have our mapping done, we have everything, we're good to go. We could be that showcase town that the town starts out with. So that was part of, what I'd like to see the feasibility study.
Can you for all people, just so people on attendance understand what you're talking about, feasibility for what?
Feasibility study for broadband, dark fiber project. It's a joint project that we're looking into with the schools. And this would light up the fiber that would give us fast, very, very fast speed internet in all our municipality buildings. The joint project would be with the school. It would light up all of the schools as well across Grand Island. So we would be putting the backbone in. If you look to the future, you could be looking at, businesses, splicing into this backbone as well. So there's a lot of things down the road that would be really good with a project such as this.
So the infrastructure of the future is the internet. I mean, we still need old-fashioned infrastructure like roads and plumbing and everything else. But by doing this project and getting out in front of this, we can create a system whereby our schools can save money, hopefully our town can be more equipped, and we can get rid of some of the complaints we have currently, which is we don't have any internet access. In parts of the island, they say the internet goes out every day because we're reliant on an independent party, who's a third party, for our internet. So it helps us create a system whereby we can bring our infrastructure up to the current standards, modern standards.
Does the end funding ultimately depend on the county then?
Well, county and state. Como's got some big grants out there. That's your E-rate funding, grant money. He definitely is interested in broadband all across New York State. So there's lots of things to look into, but before we can even go there, we have to have a plan, as you know, Chris.
So my question is there really an impact by not, because right now it's not in our budget. Is there really an impact waiting until the budget is finalized at the end of this year, and then we set all the infrastructure up so that you're ready to go live in January, and this is therefore budgeted for and not on top of, because we do have too often, I think this year, put things on top of as opposed to it actually being budgeted for.
I understand that, and the thing is this project isn't gonna, I can't even imagine with what we've gotta do to prepare ourselves for it with all the committee structures and everything, that we'd even be in that place. So it will be next year.
It's
before we even start.
$6,000 for existing
The
funds.
$6,000 gives us a plan so that we can start and look for all the funding, and start now for next year, the E-rate funding and all like that. So I think, the school is very excited about this project. I think that we've got a lot of good things going on with that. So it's good faith on our part as well.
What I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, when I asked about the funding, you told me the funding's there. If there's money in the supervisor's budget, and there's money in the economic development.
Right.
So it wasn't specifically budgeted for when they talked about that there, that we're gonna spend our money on this. They just said we need some money in order to be able to do something, and this something is this, and this is where we're gonna spend the money. So there is money in the budget for it.
So I want to be clear though, on what we're voting for. If that's the case, then it's not going to be incrementally pulled out of the reserve fund.
No.
It'll come out of
No.
an existing budget, and it won't result in an increase in the spending this year.
That's what I heard.
That's right, that's
Then
correct.
that's-
Well said by Councilman Philip, I think you explained it right.
Okay.
So we're not gonna vote on it tonight anyway, we're gonna meet with,
No.
you're meeting with the school board
Well, I wanna vote on approving the funds
for our side?
with the condition, with the condition that the school okays their part.
And in terms of the meeting minutes, I wanna just make sure we capture that it's out of existing budgeted funds, not incremental.
Agreed. So,
So,
go ahead.
when, just, so you want on the resolution, you want to authorize up to a certain amount and say that it's subject to an agreement that's acceptable to the town.
Exactly,
Because that would definitely need to come back, I don't know who the contract's with or what the details are, so.
yes.
But then it gives you the authority to go to the meeting and say the board's supportive of this, and I've got money up to blank.
Yes, the feasibility study is $12,000, we're agreeing to pay half of that, the $6,000.
So you give yourself even a little bit of margin if you want to, but,
Yeah.
so the resolution be something like to spend up to authorize the expenditure to up to, film a number.
$7,000.
$7,000 towards a feasibility study, subject to, an agreement that's acceptable to the town, the school and the town.
Right,
Out
whatever
of
he said.
budgeted accounts.
So he's making a motion to approve this feasibility study on $6,000 from budgeted accounts.
Seven.
$7,000 from budgeted accounts, correct? So I'll make the motion.
And subject to an agreement.
Yes.
Is approving the feasibility study to start the broadband project from existing funds, not from new expenditures, correct? Okay.
Right.
So, the motion is made by Kenny, is there a second?
I did.
Oh, Billica seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I'll give you an update on the police issue. I know you guys, some of you are still concerned about that. What I have done, by the way, I can get discussion on you on this point, because it's on the table here, unfinished business. I have spoken to the officer in charge. I recommended that he and I get together and work out basically a compromise path that we can recommend to the town board. Just unless there's a reason that you would not want me to do that, I think it might help us get to the next step. I think he and I talking with the presence of the attorney to figure out what's best for the town and to see his point of view and he can see my point of view. And maybe if he and I are on the same page, we could recommend something to everybody else. Is that something you'd be opposed to if I continue to move forward in that way?
Well, we were gonna talk to other people too, though, is that idea how?
Well, this is basically to bring out whatever, so we've had some conversation. So what you're saying, this is to sit down and have some conversation about, so but around and bring it back to us.
I think there's a lot of debate that's happened, but I want to get to the bottom of the key concerns.
Just keep it vanilla here, or, you know,
Right,
neutral.
I want to get to the key concerns they have, share some of my concerns, and then maybe if we get an agreement between my side and his side, we can go to you guys and say, what do you think of this way forward? And then if you
I'm
guys.
okay with that.
Yeah, we don't have to
Yeah.
vote on that either.
But I'm just giving you an update. since
That's
this
that
is happening.
discussion,
Yeah,
specifically the police commissioner item
Right.
was a specific thing, and we ended up having workshop discussions on the police commissioner. And I thought, and I'm possibly mistaken, but I thought that we came to an agreement that we were talking about looking to appoint a police commissioner with a two-member town board or a commission with that commission.
I think that was definitely discussed by us,
But we didn't.
but we will go to there was no vote on it. And
We're good with that, that's what's all
I
right.
said I would consider that as part of a broader overall cure for the issue that we're facing.
So where are we then?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I want to meet with the officer in charge, talk to him about this item and other items, get his feedback on it, see what he says about some of my concerns about this issue, and then we can present it to the board and say, this is the plan that he and I have worked on. What do you guys think? Okay. Is that fair?
yeah.
Good with that.
I'm just trying to mend the two sides to see if we can find a compromise on it. Okay, With that, we're moving off unfinished business. We're moving to the open forum here. You can comment on any comment, I should say. Please state your name and address.
At what point do we do the, if we want to do suspension of rules? Is it before the public comment or after?
Doesn't matter.
It's probably better to do it first in case it generates some additional comments. So there's, I would like to move to suspend rules to permit a vote regarding the Beaver or the Parkway, the West River Parkway, regarding the closure of the West River Parkway state plan option.
Second?
So you're moving to suspend rules to vote on something we already voted on, correct?
That is correct.
So what's the purpose of the second vote?
Just to do it in front of the public as well.
I don't know, I don't even know if there's a purpose. No, I wanted to have the original vote up here, and the original discussion up here. I don't know if there's a purpose to have a vote that's already been decided.
And I don't either.
Okay. So.
I mean, it's done, it's what
Well,
it is.
there's
I mean,
that's the discussion, that's fine.
Yeah,
But
it's a
there's a motion
discussion.
to suspend the rules and there's a second to suspend the
Yeah.
rules. So we
Correct.
have to have a vote on that in order to suspend the rules or not suspend the rules.
Gotcha.
To permit a
This was
vote
telling me what I
regarding the
thought.
the
Yeah,
Parkway.
It's already been done, so.
So roll call to vote to suspend the rules to vote for something that's already been voted on?
No, my motion is, to be clear, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules to permit a vote in public regarding whether the town supports or does not support the closure of the parkway as part of the bikeway path.
I think you have to put a caveat on there that says the current town board. You can't, it's current town board.
No.
Why not? You can't speak for the history of the town in a motion. I can't make a motion to say that, I make a motion that the Germans won World War II.
My motion is regarding the closure of the parkway as part of the bikeway path plan, and whether or not we support that or not.
Just
The
read your
current
motion.
town board.
Should I read the motion that
No,
I
you don't
made?
have to read the motion, we have to decide whether we're gonna suspend the
Suspend the
rules.
rules.
Right.
All right, so motion to suspend the rules requires unanimous consent of the board, so you could vote on that first. If that motion passes, then you can put the motion on the table.
So motion to suspend the rules for a vote. The motion is made by Madigan, seconded by who?
Billica.
Billica, roll call?
Madigan.
Aye.
Billica.
Aye.
Veronica.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
McMurray.
Nay. So it doesn't gotta go forward.
So the current motion stands.
Correct. Open the floor to
Okay,
public.
sorry, one more motion. I'd like to make a second motion to suspend the rules regarding vacation homes and whether to hold a public hearing on August 15th or not. That's the topic for suspending the rules.
Second.
2 weeks from today.
Can you make it for the following board meeting?
That'll be August 15th.
No, the one after that?
Yeah, so let me just,
I
well,
don't know when that
we
date
gotta
is.
suspend the rules first, but
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
August 29th.
Yes.
I believe.
I don't believe it would be the 29th, it would be the,
Oh, wait.
the-
I'm sorry.
yeah, the 5th
Is
of
that
September.
too late? September 1?
It's the 6th.
It's the 6th
Or
because
6th.
of Labor Day.
August 6th is too late, right?
Oh, September.
September 6th.
September 6th.
Yeah, that would be too late, so the 15th is what we're looking at.
All right.
Well, we have to vote on suspending the rules.
So motion made by Madigan to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Aye. Or, me.
Kenny? Madigan, made
Me, Beth.
discussion? Roll call?
Madigan.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Billica.
Aye.
Veronica.
Opposed?
McMurray.
Did you say opposed?
Yes.
We can't do it then, so it's a moot point. Yeah, he didn't read it yet.
So that vote
No,
got
I'll
voted
change
down,
that. I'll
just so
change
we.
that. I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, I'll change that.
Change the nay to affirmative? So I'll change mine to affirmative too. So we're affirmative, and we're just, the rules are discussed now, so what's the motion on the floor?
So the motion would be to set a public hearing for August 15th regarding the vacation homes and to seek public input regarding that.
Second.
Discussion?
I haven't had enough time to read that and decipher whether I want that law to be the one that's published for the public hearing, because then we gotta go through the whole thing again. I think it's too quick. So,
I tend to agree with you.
I'm gonna do September 1st, is it?
I'd rather, look, I just got the law today, and it's a new version of the law, and I'm trying to find a compromise on this, but I haven't even read the thing yet. I'd rather have it delayed to the next meeting after that. But the thing is it too late because of the sunset provision, is the question.
no.
So no.
Because anybody who wants to can appeal that they need a longer period of time.
Correct. So I'm gonna agree with you. I think we should make a motion to, well, we can vote on this, but I prefer we did it September 1st.
I would prefer we didn't set a public hearing at all
Yeah.
until we're ready to set the public hearing. After we read
think it's
this,
fair
and we
comment.
decide we want to change something, add something, subtract, whatever the case may be, we'll know how long that's gonna take. If we set the public hearing for September, whatever date that was, that's when we're
Chris,
gonna
are you
have
gonna
it,
agree with
unless we
this?
cancel.
That's where I'm at on it too. So we'll bring a vote. Roll call.
No, you don't have to vote, so there's no.
We got a motion on the floor.
Here's a motion.
Yeah, it's been
There's a
seconded.
motion on the floor.
Sorry.
So roll call.
Okay, I'm sorry, who,
Motion by
Madigan.
Madigan, second by Kenny.
and what are we,
For a motion to set the public hearing.
I
for August
withdraw my
15th.
motion.
Unless you.
If Kenny withdraws her motion, we'll
Yeah.
discuss it further later.
okay, so
Okay.
right now, should we just take the whole thing off? We can
Take it off.
suspend the rules, we
Yep.
can do anything.
Yep.
Just, we
They said you could have.
No.
can suspend the rules, we're taking it away. Okay, cross this out.
Okay.
Thank you.
So with that being said, we're gonna open the floor to comment. Remember, we are gonna state your name and where you're from and where you live if possible. We ask you to be respectful of the forum. You can be heated. You saw how heated I can get. You can be, you can say whatever you want. The biggest thing I ask for you to do is, if someone says something you don't agree with, I don't want any catcalls. I don't want any shouting out. We have to respect the forum of this location. And it's very difficult for people to get up and talk. Now, the 4 of us, 5 of us, we fight every day, we talk every day. So it's a little bit different, but some people are not used to this forum. I don't want to have a situation where someone gets up and they feel they're being shouted down. And we've been pretty good in town board meetings thus far. And if you do that, I will call you out on it and ask you to stop, and maybe even ask you to leave if it gets inappropriate. I want you to be respectful of the forum, give everyone a chance to speak. You can applaud after they're done, but we want to keep the decorum in a position where people can have the freedom to say what they want to say. So with that, I'll open the floor to discussion.
Michelle Nix, 827 West River Road. I'd like to read a shortened version of a letter that was given to all of the town council members from the West River Homeowners Association regarding the closure of the parkway for a bike path. I will keep it brief. On 7/20/2016, at a public meeting held at Grand Island High School, New York State Park Department representatives presented their plan to close the West River Parkway for the purpose of building a bike path. The West River Homeowners Association Board of Directors has been inundated with communications from irate citizens and representatives from business and tourism. We wish to state our complete and unanimous opposition to a plan proposed by the town supervisor and the New York State Parks Department to close the West River Parkway. Opposition to the closing of the parkway does not mean we are opposed to a bike path, an idea we previously supported. The original plan is in writing and was approved by the town board in 2015 after careful consideration. The new plan calls for closing the scenic West River Parkway to traffic under this new, we believe, misguided design. The over 1,400 cars per day using the parkway will be redirected to the 30-mile-per-hour designated West River Service Road. The scenic drive would be destroyed to build parking lots and a bicycle lane that would be utilized by a very small percentage of the population and probably mostly non-Grand Island residents. The new plan would produce traffic hazards, unsafe conditions for homeowners, and destroy the view that is currently available to tourists, residents, and commuters who work on Grand Island. It would decrease property values and associated tax revenues. In previous discussions and public meetings, no plan to close the parkway was proposed, and this is the first the public has been made aware of it. We demand that the proposal be withdrawn for a number of reasons, including this is an international border area, and the U.S. Border Patrol uses the parkway and the overlooks to maintain the border and watch for illegal activities on the river and illegal entry attempts to the United States. The federal government has not been consulted about the impact on federal activities. The crossroads that would be impacted are county roads, but Erie County officials have not been consulted. Current Grand Island Town Board members haven't discussed or voted on the proposal. The person who seems to have agreed to this is the supervisor. Public hearings were never held on this plan prior to last week, and that meeting was advertised as an information meeting, not a public hearing. The residents of West River Service Road were never consulted, yet this directly impacts the property values along the road. The proposal doesn't consider the town master plan that was professionally developed and approved after public participation in the process. The increased cost to the town and county to maintain the roads would be more heavily used if the parkway is not in use, has not been factored into the budget. There were no comprehensive traffic studies completed. There was no study that indicates the potential number of bicycles anticipated. The proposal does not consider future growth of the west side of Grand Island. The proposal does not consider the damage to front lawns from increased traffic. Environmental impact studies, including water drainage and plant life, were not done based on this plan. No mention's been made of any possible federal archaeological studies that might need to be completed if this plan is followed. The West River Homeowners Association is completely opposed to the action and recommends a continuation of the original bike path plan that would utilize the riverbank and keep the West River Parkway open and professionally maintained. Lack of planning for maintenance by the New York State Parks Department has led to problems with the parkway, and the citizens of the West River have been forced to pay money over and above their taxes to maintain the roadside. The commuters who use the West River Parkway would no longer be able to utilize the parkway to get to work or to shop, or their commute would be significantly longer due to having to contend with school buses, garbage and recycling trucks, the Border Patrol, and the many additional cars each day on the service road. Residents exiting the driveway, school children waiting for buses would be placed at additional risk due to the additional traffic. New York State Parks proposes spending nearly $2 million to install 7 parking lots that cars could access by driving the service road to get to duck blinds, boat and kayak launches, and the scenic overlooks. These parking lots would require maintenance, and that's the same issue we currently have at the overlooks and along the current parkway, because the Parks Department has not kept the promises made when the road was built. Parking lots would negatively impact the entire West River view. The original grant money was designated for a bike trail on state property. It did not include parking lots or road closures. The land in which the parkway was built was acquired by the state of New York through eminent domain for that purpose. Destruction of the parkway would seem to negate the rights of the state to the land. We, the West River Homeowners Association, formally request a public hearing on the issue. Thank you.
Just as a matter of record, the town board voted earlier in the downstairs, and 3-2, we did vote to not support the closure of the parkway.
Thank you.
My name is Frank Greco. I live at 37-2 West River Road. Is the mic on? Is the mic on?
He's up here, but maybe not back there.
Is the mic on?
We can hear you, go ahead. I can hear you.
Can somebody help me with the mic?
Turn it up, maybe.
Maybe she turned it
It's
on.
up and higher and closer.
I don't know, Frank.
No, it's not right. That sounds
Here,
like
Frank.
It should be up again.
Just talk loud, Frank.
Frank, go like this.
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I would like to say I'm in favor of a public hearing. In addition to that, I would like to comment on a letter that's, in all due respect, that Supervisor McMurray's article in the Grand Island Dispatch last week. When I read it, I felt that there was some false information, and also there was many things that were wrong. So for the public record, I would like to put the things in the public record. I had the paper here. The first thing is that in the article, I'm not saying that Supervisor McMurray put all this out, and maybe he was told this by the Parks Department. It says the numbers don't lie. 28 cars per hour from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on average traveled West River Parkway. At our meeting, we were told that approximately 1,400 cars were on the north end and approximately 400 on the south end. Now, if you do the arithmetic, that comes out to an average of 900 cars divided by 12 hours. That's 75 cars, not 28. So one says, hey, the arithmetic is wrong. What else is wrong? In the article, it says the road is not full of heavy traffic and maintained half the year. Again, if you go there, you'll see that there's no snow plowing from December 1st to April 1st. That's 4 months. That's a third of the year, not a half. Now one wonders, if the arithmetic is not right, what else is wrong? Number 3, West River residents were against 4 things. Additional asphalt. I'm not sure who said this, but how in the world do you build a bike path without putting asphalt down? So I'm not sure who said that either. Number 4, the state parks has showed me that the plan posed a low environmental impact and that the project will open the area to recreational activities, including walking, running, wintertime pursuits. In other words, it would be not really just a path, but a multi-purpose corridor. The present system in winter, is a multi-use corridor. It's manicured to the liking of the snowmobile club, who use the area between the parkway and the service road for the bike path. That's what they prefer. It's also used by skiers, it's used by horseback riders, it's used by skaters, so it already is a multi-use corridor. Number 5, Grand Island, and if you can get some of the bypass traffic funneled towards Grand Island Boulevard, who knows what benefit it will bring. Maybe some of those workers at the factory will start shopping at one of our local restaurants for a sandwich once in a while. Well, here's what I did. Saturday, I took a drive, and I started from Niagara Falls, where and I got off at the exit, and I traveled to the industrial park, which has about 1,400 people per day. It took me 4 minutes, normal driving on speed limit. And then I said, well, let's see how long it would take on Service Road, going 30 miles an hour. It took me 8 minutes. And then I said, well, I'm going to go down Grand Island Boulevard through 4 lights and see what that takes me. It took me 15 minutes. So I'm wondering, who's going to take an additional 7 minutes to go to work so they can go through 4 lights? And I caught most of them, all of them green as a matter of fact. Who's going to do that to go down Grand Island Boulevard? What this shows that all the people will just go to the service road. So I just thought I would bring out some things that were not correct. There are 5 items that were not correct in that article. So I only looked at it for about half an hour. If I had looked longer, maybe I would have found other things. Thank you, Mike. Can somebody get the mic fixed for other people?
Are there any other comments? Yes, sir, come on up.
There you go.
Fine, be that way.
I'm just wondering when you, my name is Ryan Glass, I live 25 North County Road, Grand Island. I was wondering when you kind of finalize things on these vacation homes, or whatever you're going to call them. Can they be posted so when you have a public hearing that we can all be on the same level?
Absolutely. Yes, sir, I promise.
And you know I'm not in favor of it, so I appreciate any input you can guide me.
So post as early as possible.
You'll get plenty of, I promise. You can call me anytime.
Okay.
Testing? No.
No.
Now it works.
Now it
Work,
works.
okay.
Yeah.
Any additional comments?
Kevin Hardwick from the Erie County Legislature. I'm sorry, I just never seen a working mic. I didn't want to run it in front of The legislature, county legislature recently held its mid-year budget hearings, and one of the most sobering items for us came when we got around to looking at revenues, specifically sales tax. As you may know, because of relatively low gas prices, because of the low Canadian dollar, the weak Canadian dollar, sales tax in Erie County is lagging. Now that hurts us at the county level. It's the one source of revenue that's always a wild card. You know, we can predict our property taxes. People aren't going to take up their homes and move them offshore or something. We can predict user fees, and we can predict federal and state aid. But it's a sales tax that you never know, and it's at best an educated guess. Well, it's affecting the county, and I just want to caution the town, of course, that it's going to affect you. And before you get too far ahead in your own fiscal year, I would recommend you do what we did and take a look back and see how sales tax is coming in, because it may affect your plans for the rest of the year. I mean, better to know now than come December and say, hey, where did that money go that we thought we had? And again, I'm sure you budgeted, as we did, what you thought sales tax was going to be. I don't think any of us expected the Canadian dollar to be as weak as it is, and you may want to look at that. Thank you.
And we have been looking at it.
Do you have an approximate estimate of what you think it'll be reduced by this year?
You know what? Depends on whether you're optimistic or not. I mean, we have legislators who say, well, you know, Christmas is going to be booming this year, and of course, you know, if you're going to be behind in sales tax, the best time of the year to be behind is in the first quarter, the first half year, because it's that fourth quarter which can make everything great. And you know, we won't know. I'm just so anything I could tell you now would be another educated guess. I guess what I'm suggesting. You say you have been looking at it, which is a good thing.
Historically, the town's been very conservative.
Thankfully.
That's great. So if it comes in, if more comes in, it's icing on the cake, but you're never surprised. Oh, would that we were as smart in the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Shirley?
My name is Keith Trippy, and I'm appearing on as counsel for the Grand Island Farms Cooperative. As you know, earlier today I sent a memo to your board regarding agricultural use of water. It's becoming extremely significant, but it's also a timely issue. Having gone to your workshop earlier today, quite frankly, I was very frustrated that this is a matter that I don't feel is being addressed in a timely fashion. I heard that it will be referred to a committee towards the end of the month. What I will do is, since John Whitney called me back today, and he's essentially in 100% agreement with the issues I've raised, I will start to work with him to put together a policy that we can more quickly bring back before you. And the issue is really simple. We have farms scattered across the island, and we're specifically focusing on the 40 farms that the state certified to operate here on the island. Some of those farms that are in a sewer district are being charged water at the rate of $8.05 per 1,000 gallons. If you're not in the sewer district, you pay only $2.85. So it's a very simple economic reality. If you're running out of water in your retention ponds or cisterns, you simply can't afford to pay the current rate if you happen to be in a sewer district. So we're unfairly treating the same type of farm operation in different parts of the town. And I brought these to the meeting earlier, but there was no opportunity to discuss it. This is what happens when you have irrigated corn. You can bring a product to market. We're talking about a farmer's market, and this product can go to market. But when you're forced to decide that you don't have the water and you can't pay, this is what happens with unirrigated corn. And it's essentially not even very useful for animal feed. So this is something that must be addressed in a timely way. I assure you I will work directly with John, and hopefully we can get something together that very quickly will respond to these issues. And I also want to assure the town we're not looking to create any exceptions here. We're just looking for some economic fairness. But I also want the town to be fair in considering that we're not putting any of this water back into the sewer system. And it's really kind of unfair to be charging people an extra $5.20 for a service they never consume. Thank you very much.
My name is Deborah Brennan. I live at 1955 West River Road.
The little traffic study I see was done in 2013, listed 1,400 cars on the West River Parkway. You want to put those cars on a service road. The increased traffic on that road alone is just insane. It is not designed for that kind of traffic. It's too small. Second of all, the bike paths you already have there. Why can't we just extend those out further into the grassy field? That is state property, I do believe, right? So
That's not state town, that's owned by the town, it'd have to be a deed or an easement.
okay, then put it on the other side of the parkway. On the other side of the parkway. Why can't it go on the other side of the road where the 55-mile road is? Every road you come down on, Baseline, West River, Love Road, Staley Road, any road, all the bicyclists are riding on the sides of the roads, and it's all right, going 45 miles an hour. Even your bike path going through Buckhorn Park is going through a 45-mile-an-hour road. There are no barriers for the bikers there, that it's okay to do that. I have an issue with putting a bike path, taking 1,400 cars off the road that is used daily by a lot of traffic. And I don't see 1,400 bikers going up that parkway that's turned into a bike path a day. Okay.
With that, I will bring the public comment period to a close. Are there any comments from the town board?
I have one. Just regarding public hearings, I think if you were paying attention since the beginning of the year to some of the public hearings we've been having here, public input definitely can have an impact. I would encourage the more engagement, the more involvement, the better. Also, there's other means to convey information, the petitioning, things of that nature. And when I mention that, I know we're sending some information to the state. Some people are pro or con for the bike path. It would probably be helpful if you also copied the town board, just so we know overall, you know, what your opinions are, pro or con, just so that we can also kind of take the temperature of the town and be fully informed when we're having our discussions as well. Thanks.
I'm going to make a comment. No, the public comment period is over. I'm sorry. We'll be over in a second. But I'm going to make a public comment. You know I'm passionate about this bike path. I think it's good for Grand Island. I think it's good for Western New York. I think connecting our town through pedestrian access produces wealth over time. It produces activity. It produces health. We wanted that bike path. We've been talking about it for years. This town board talked about it. The other town board talked about it. It was ping pong back and forth, different ideas. One side said, well, I want it closer to the river. That's no good, because we're going to have guardrails. Another side said, I want it in the middle. That's no good, because it takes away from snowmobiles. It takes away from other sports activities. So after years of comment, we got together and we had a town hearing. Now, I'll tell you what happened when I came into office. I'm going to repeat what happened. I reached out to them. Please hold your comments. Please hold your comments. It's an information hearing, an information setting. So I came to I told you when I was running for office that I was going to close deals. I didn't start this bike path stuff, but I figured I'm going to help finish it because I think it's good for Grand Island. So I went to the state parks. I saw what they were working up, and I went to the town board. I drew it on the board months ago. I said, this is what's coming. There wasn't a peep. There was no anguish. There was no angst. There was no fighting. They all had the opportunity to go to the state parks. Chris went recently. To his credit, he went to the state parks to say we're against the bike path because it's not exactly what we want, but further, defining history. It actually defines history. And we did that vote. Let me finish my comment. We did that vote for 3 people. 3 people we had here today. I've been in this meeting. I've been in this meeting where it was bursting with people who wanted something, and we said no. Recently, bursting with people coming to this microphone saying, I want this done. Now let me tell you what I've seen. You can be as mad as you want, but I've looked at the emails. I talked to the families who want something on West River Road. We got a cameraman here today to talk to three people who got up and said, this is wrong. What about all the people who emailed me and said, I want a place to walk with my kids? What about all the people who said, I want more waterfront access? Now, we had an opportunity here. The opportunity is what I wanted to provide. Maybe I went about it the wrong way, but the opportunity was to provide something that shapes the future of Grand Island. That we can go to the state park and say, look, we still want to work with you on that plan. We haven't even heard what they came up with. We haven't even heard their final version. We had a draft. We didn't even wait to hear what the draft was. We suspended the normal behavior that we said we would set, and we voted downstairs on something they heard about months ago.
Well, I'd like to make a comment. I did call Mark Thomas, the regional director of the state park system, and my message to him was I was opposed to this parkway. We met twice at the Nike base, and they had a plan in place that the previous town board approved to put that bike path on the west side of the parkway. Engineering was done by the town, preliminary engineering was done by the town. There was never a comment from the state saying this wouldn't work. All of a sudden, it's not working. I don't know what went wrong. I asked Mark specifically what the engineering issues were, and he didn't have it. He was going to talk to John Whitney about it. So I'm not sure what changed between the public here, or the comments that were made at the Nike base twice about the plan where there was public input, and now, and that was my message to Mark Thomas.
I'd like to add too that I was at the hearing, which was the last one right up here, and what was being presented was not what's currently being presented. And I do not believe anyone, well, overwhelmingly at that hearing here, that really wasn't a hearing, it was more of a comment section, not really give and take. Overwhelmingly, it was against, even at that point in time, the bike path. But for the record, I think all or most of us are for a bike path, just not the closure of the parkway at this point in time. Most of the people that have expressed an opinion, overwhelmingly, both in email to the town board, overwhelmingly have been opposed to the closure of the parkway, overwhelmingly have been for the bike path.
That's just not true.
And if you'll just notice, there was a comment by the supervisor that there were all of 3 people here. There were all the 3 people. That 3 people got up to the microphone because 3 people feel that they can do that. There were just a big round of applause from more than 3 people.
In a half-empty room.
And maybe one of the reasons I did not interrupt you.
Well, I'm sorry,
making
go
your
ahead.
comments.
Go ahead, you can go ahead.
Don't interrupt me.
You may continue.
This is our agenda for this evening. Nowhere on this agenda is the bike path issue. People wouldn't come to this meeting today because it's not on the agenda. So, the people that I have received emails from, the people who have phoned me, and the people who have talked to me in person, like Mr. Madigan, are overwhelmingly against closure of the parkway, not against a bike path. They would like a bike path, just a different kind of alternative than closing the parkway and taking vehicular traffic away and taking a lot of opportunity for people to access the riverfront by vehicle. And putting all those vehicles on service roads that the town may have to worry about maintenance on.
And you know, when you hear the numbers, you don't just, as far as the traffic on the parkway, it's not spread like peanut butter equally by hour. There's a concentrated rush hour in the morning and the afternoon. Morning when the buses are delivering kids, afternoon when the kids are running around on the streets and doing everything else on that service road. Probably a majority of that traffic is in those concentrated time periods. So when you hear the number 1,400 to 2,000, which was in early May, where right now I contend there's a significant higher rate of traffic right now, because early May, that's honestly just after it reopened from the winter. I think there's a lot more traffic in the summertime there, a lot more people enjoying the view and what have you. So we're talking a fairly large concentration of traffic at those times.
So I'm gonna make one more comment, and this is for the news, for you in attendance and everybody else. Again, we've been talking about this for years. We could have a bike path started next year. The plan is before us, after collecting hundreds, even thousands of comments, many of which I've looked at, many of which have come across me. I am not deaf to the concerns in West River. I've already been fighting with West River regarding with the state parks regarding the parking lots. I said we need to change that part of the plan. There is an opportunity for leverage to get something really special here and to get something done. Or are we a town that continues to kick it down the path and say, yeah, we'll do it 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Where will it be in 10 years from now when it's time to resurface that parkway? Will Mike Madigan be sitting here telling me that it's a great joyride, that it's a pleasure to go on, when it costs $20 million to resurface that parkway? Let's think about all of the implications of our actions. And I'm not going to be afraid of saying it. A lot of you I respect. Mr. Greco, you know I respect you. We've had some good discussions. A lot of you people I respect. But I'm telling you, if you're going to be against me for trying to figure out a way to get this done, and I'll be for whatever the state parks come up with, as long as it is reasonable and represents the general interests of the people of Grand Island and not the interests of a select group, I will work with the state parks, and I'll fight with the state parks. What happened today was showmanship, and I don't agree with it. It was showmanship, and it wasn't reflective of the interests of Grand Island, in my opinion. We did not have the overwhelming crowds that we had. We had the trapping issue, for example.
It wasn't on the agenda.
It was on the agenda. It was on the agenda before, and you know that. It was on the workshop agenda.
It wasn't in your
With
meeting,
that,
because it was all
and
outside.
the fact that we had that agenda, and you were here for it, you were all sitting there for it. We had the agenda downstairs. It was on the workshop agenda. But I will continue to fight for access to the waterfront for not just the people in West River, but for all of Grand Island.
It's there already, use it. The bike paths are there, the walking paths are there.
Excuse me.
A motion is in order to adjourn tonight's meeting at...
Wait a minute.
Go ahead,
Wait
Bev.
a minute.
Yes, Bev, go ahead.
I'm going to speak.
Yes.
Do you gentlemen mind? Can I do that? Without being interrupted?
Of course. Go ahead.
I have to say, I'm disappointed all the way around. Because no matter what every one of these gentlemen says, the state is going to make its decision. I was in hopes that all of the information that was coming forward, and I know that I have, and I know that Cindy has, everything is being sent to the state so that you can all have an impact, have a voice, and have a civil voice. I'm very disappointed in some of the people that have come forward. I'm disappointed with some of the board members, to be quite frank, interrupting, yelling, and just plain old not respecting each other's opinion. I was very disappointed earlier when a young lady was out in the parking lot and people were yelling at her, you know, and over this issue and others. We all have a right to have our opinion. I'm listening to every single one of you. And to be jeering each other and yelling at each other, and I've been hearing stories about neighbors calling each other up and giving them up. I mean, the state is going to do what they're going to do. And I, for one, want to put my opinion in hoping they're listening. I think they are listening. But for us to be at each other's throats and for us to be disrespectful to each other, to me, that's wrong. It's just plain wrong. That's my opinion.
I see no respect here. I see no respect. You know, it just, they don't even maintain